Some of the reasons for not coming forward, like they talked about, for these nurses, fear of losing their license, possible jail time, colleague judgment, the stigmatism. They found a lot of nurses especially felt like since they've seen other staff members and the way they've treated drug addicts who've come through, that they obviously didn't want to be treated like that or viewed as that. And that was huge with them, the judgment from them. And then also lack of education. A lot of these nurses had no idea that there's programs out there that are specifically tailored to them or to an MA or to a vet tech, and that they're wanting them to keep their license. They just want them to get treatment and be safe about it. So failure of reporting from the facility and the bystander, like they talked about, there's like this revolving door. Oh, you were caught diverting. We're just going to let you go because we don't want that on our smear our. Yeah, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So the lack of education, the denial, not taking responsibility for all those crazy shifts, the demands on the floor or in the office, fear of the public finding out they have nurses or staff that are diverting, the ignorance of it and not understanding that addiction doesn't discriminate who it's going to affect. So even if you're a doctor, you're still a human being and it's still a mental illness and needs to be treated like that. And it's actually part of the Anti-Discrimination Act that they aren't allowed to discriminate against them, but it happens all the time. And the WHOOPS, which is for the nurse, for the impaired nurse, that program claims that the impaired nurse is actually umpteen times more safer than the regular nurse when she is in a treatment or he is in a treatment.
Even the fact that they call it like diverting, like it makes it so like nicer sounding than.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
Than stealing from the patient.
Stealing.
Yeah. And when this one nurse that I had this issue with, a lot of them were like, oh, how dare she? She's so disgusting. That's horrible. Well, it is horrible because she was taking pain medicine from people that needed it. But at the same time, this is a mental illness. We wouldn't say with someone, who has, schizophrenia. We wouldn't treat them that way either. It's the same mental illness. They need help. And I think that's a big thing. What I really wanted to get out of this is that, yes, it's a public safety concern, but we can't keep doing the revolving door, and we can't keep just saying, well, you lost your license, there you go. You know what I mean? That there is help and they can actually do a great job, like that doctor who is now, teaching and educating. So just things for you guys to recognize in the workplace, and they're subtle. And I had another nurse, unfortunately, she was actually taking the pain patches off and chewing them.
Oh.
Yeah, which is really gross. And this is when I was at NAC, but after doing this, I started realizing all these little things that I didn't put together, and it's like, whoa, was appearance. So coming in just kind of disheveled, the behavior changes, the mood swings throughout the shift, coming in either really jazzed, and then by the end of the day, they're starting to teeter off, or vice versa. They come in just hurting and in pain. By the end of the shift, they're just so giddy and happy. Those are things to look for. The background, numerous job changes, like that revolving door. The absenteeism, difficulty in concentration, poor employment relationships, problems with memory, and then the high accident rate. So anytime we had an accident where I worked in a skilled nursing facility, you always had to be automatically drug tested, which I think was brilliant. And at that facility, there's an actual picture of a nurse on one of the floors who was a diverting nurse, and she OD'd. Yeah, and so, and they hold the WHOOPS program there at that facility, I think in help of her, because they did try, but they didn't have the WHOOPS program at that time. So recognizing the signs of impairment, these are going to be the people, and I know this is more tailored to like in the hospital, but I think with you guys, you could notice this as well. Always volunteers to pass pain medication. Patient complains no pain relief after medication was given. Always gives the max pain medication dose. Discrepancies on medication administration records. frequent wastage or spilling. Do you guys pass narcotics at all, or have any benzos or anything that you guys ever? No? Okay. Picks up extra shifts or comes in early for shifts. So these are things, I guess, more tailored towards the hospital. But I think they're things to just keep in mind, especially with physicians and stuff. I mean, I can tell you right now that there is several physicians in programs, as well as some pharmacists. Like, it doesn't discriminate. It's not just nurses, but apparently MAs are pretty good. So the WHOOPS program is for the LPN, RN, all of them. I found that the RAMP, this one is one I didn't know about, because I said mine was all tailored toward nursing, but the MA, Surg Tech, counselors, they all have their own program, which is wonderful. So everyone has their own support. And my thinking after all of this, and what I hope to do eventually when I finish my manuscript, is to help create policy change, because we need to stop with the revolving door. We need to mandate that all facilities take away that either that stigmatism and all that stuff, creating transparency, having flyers out, or having routine educational meetings, something that gets more awareness out there that this could happen and that you're not going to be punished. Because what happens when we fear punishment? We're not going to say anything. But if we know that we have a supportive network, we can say, hey, I really need help. And I can tell you as a nurse, from my perspective, it's really hard. It's so hard taking care of people sometimes and seeing them at their worst time, knowing that, you know, there's only so much you can do to help. And, you know, some people turn to drugs, minus food. But you know what I mean? Like, we all have our own coping mechanisms. So just not just, you know, keeping an open mind if someone ever did or you suspected it. WHOOPS has, and so does RAMP, has a great packet that your employer could have out at any time for that goes into a detailed how to handle this. If you suspect someone, you're not going to just go up and say, you've been drinking. I can tell. You know what I mean? Actual step-by-step saying, you know, getting the supervisor, gathering your evidence, and then really being able to help this person. And for that nurse, when she was finally caught, the first thing she said was finally. And she's a great nurse, and she went back, and there was nurses that were very not so nice to her. There was physicians that were not so nice to her, which I think is crazy because we're all humans. So, you know, we all make mistakes, and luckily no one was seriously harmed in that, but she is a fabulous nurse, and she's on the right track, and that is because of WHOOPS. That is because someone said something, and it sucked because at first she hated me.
Right.
So, anyways, those are my references, and I hope this somehow was beneficial to you. I know it was tailored more towards nurses, but yeah.